Hello everyone, welcome to Unit of Technical Analysis. We are going through WD Gann trading techniques and we are going through this book which is WD Gann on law of vibration. Just to remind you, this book is not written by WD Gann, but this is a collection of his articles which are relating the law of vibration, and that's why it is called as WD Gann on the law of vibration, right? So this is probably going to be the fourth part of the book. In this previous three parts, we have studied about various things together. We'll just like to quickly summarize for a few of the things, right? Let me go through on the chart, right? Not only this book together, we have considered certain aspects which are there from his book, Tunnel Through the Air also, where we saw that he specifically said in his book on law of vibration that he started with certain aspects which are there. Ah, he started with one important thing, which is on page number 7, that says note. He noted the periodical recurrences of rise and fall in stocks and commodities. So this is the first thing that he talked about. The second important thing that he talked about was this page number 55, where it says a series of numbers is known to determine the next. So this talks about Fibonacci as such. So we considered these two aspects which are there, and what we did is everywhere we try to draw a Fibonacci from the low part to the high part, right? So this is what we did from our side overall as such. So we tried to draw a Fibonacci from a low to a high, 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 right? And this way we try to interpret for four Fibonacci's which are there, right? Overall, this were considering the four bull cycles starting from 2004 to 2008, then 2010 to 2000. Yes. Uh, so the cycles which are there overall, bear to bear cycles were 2004 to 2008, 2012 to 2000, 2008 to 2012. I beg your pardon. From 2012 to 2016 and from 2016 to 2020. So this were the full bull bear cycles that we have considered. And through Gann's book on law of vibration, we try to consider this simple aspect where he has said that he started with noting down the periodical recurrences of rise and falls in the stocks and commodities. So we took the rise, that is the rise and fall, the rise and fall, the rise and fall, then the rise, and accordingly the fall which is there. So from this four things, we considered something which is very important. Again, in his book, he told that in his book, Tunnel Through the Air, where he specifically mentioned that he studied about the cycle, and it is very important for him to know the right start point. For example, if you have the right start point, you will be able to get the right end point also. So this is certain important aspects that we considered altogether. And by this, we are able to know that, okay, if you have a right start point, which generally comes at on the Fibonacci is either at 0.236 or at 0.5 of the entire bull range. For example, if this is the entire bull range, then the reversal will be coming either at 0.236. Here we are getting a reversal which is there exactly at 0.236 level, or it comes down to the 0.5 level, right? So if you consider over here, yes, this is coming exactly at 0.5. So we get somewhere around an exact start point. And if you start from the start point, we'll be able to get the end point where we are getting the end of bull cycle at the extension, which is 1.618. For two of the cycles, we specifically got this extension at 1.618. For example, this extension which was there, we got it at 1.618 of the bull cycle up to 2015. At the second bull cycle that we had after that, starting from 2016 onwards till 2020, it was again coming at an extension of 1.618, right? So this were certain aspects that we consider, and the bull cycle that is there currently, which is going on, that probably came at level 2. If I mean, like, we are not 100% sure whether this is the end of the bull cycle, but yes, at this stage, tentatively, that level has been coming as per our understanding, right? So this was a certain aspect that we consider together for that part. We are also trying to develop and consider other aspects which are like for example, the law of vibration enabled me to accurately determine the exact point to which stocks or commodities should rise and fall within a given time. So we saw that we were able to also understand the time period based on that. So if you consider something else, probably here we are able to know that what is the cycle? Ah, so here probably we were able to understand in the smaller Fibonacci that okay, if we start from this point to this point, probably which is more like an extension being completed on a smaller range, that is on daily part. So we are getting somewhere around 23 bars, that is in terms of trading days, 37 days in terms of calendar days, and the reversal that we are getting exactly in terms of price. Price is coming to 50% and time is also coming to 50% of that, which is 11 bars and 18 days. So 11 bars is half of 23 and 18 days is half of 37. So we tried certain examples, not only one example, but we did almost around two examples starting from low points, and we got almost similar results for that part, right? So here also we were able to probably get something accurate to that point, not very exact or precise like what WD Gann used to say, but yes, somewhere nearer in that part. He further says about few more things, which is he says this vibratory forces can only be known by the moment they generate on the stocks and their values in the market. Now, this is something which still we need to figure out what exactly it will be becoming like. But let's read it again. This vibratory forces can only be known by the moment they generate on the stocks and their values in the market. So this force probably we can say that, okay, fine. Probably the force when it is pushing down, then after that, which is going up. So this is probably one force and this is second force. So this can be action and reaction. We need to understand that very clearly, because this is first force which is pushing down probably till this level, and the second force which goes up in the opposite direction after that, right? And he says that everything in existence is based on exact proportion and perfect relationship. So over here probably we saw something as perfect relationship. Yep. So this was more of a perfect relationship overall in that part. This was again coming to a perfect relationship. Probably this relation and this relation was very perfect in terms of time as well as price. So we saw that. And Gann amulet, of course, we know, and we also know when a series of numbers. So this was also been known altogether from our side. We try to identify that. So what Gann further said on some of the parts is, let's see about the alphabets part, where he specifically says, he says the natural laws, the base of markets movement, right? He also said that numbers and letters are written, right? No, so we especially saw some examples pertaining to those parts where he specifically mentioned about the numbers also. Okay, fine. Probably it is not here. I just need to get it. So we saw about the numbers also, and especially about alphabets. Alphabets is a bit curious part. What is about alphabets generally that we see is, yes, of course, I mean, like this history goes very well around 3,500 years because it started in BC 1750. So it's almost 3,500 years back, right? If you see the evolution overall, slowly and gradually, it was like at one time, alphabets were written from left to right as well as right to left. So when they were written from, let's say, for example, A, B, C is there and D is there. If we check the initial alphabet, when they were written from left to right, yes, they were been written in this way. And when they were written from right to left, they were been written more of in an inversion way. So what we understand from this is probably the stock market behaves in a similar way when it is there into a bull cycle as well as bear cycle. So let's have this assumption and try to find out if certain things are matching as per those or not. Right? So what we interpret over here is in terms of bull cycle, if we know that okay, fine, if the bull cycle is moving up, let's try to find out if the same is there for the bear cycle. So for example, we have 1, 2, 3 bear cycle and the fourth bear cycle which was there of the 2008. Of this, the most famous one is 2008 bear cycle, right? So let's try to interpret this first of all on the bigger time frame, and let's try to go for the smaller time frame also. First is talking about the price. Yes, the price came from the top level, which is level 1 up to 0.236 level, right? So it is somewhere around almost 76% of downside, which is seen from the top. That is the first part, right? Again, if you see certain interpretations that we are able to see, I would just like to mention about this. Why? Because we can easily see this more of on the monthly time frame. Yes. So we see first of all 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which are being coming on the top to the bottom side. And these certain things like, okay, fine, we got a reversal which is exactly coming from 0.76. So this was coming down So when it toppled from there, it came down to a level which is 0.5, right? 0.5, again, it tried to take some support. And again, it did break down from this level. From 0.5, it again came down to 0.236. So somewhere around, we can see a ratio which has been happening, probably a fall from this level to this level, then from this level to this level, right? So it is not equivalent, something like that. But yes, particularly if you see, yes, falling from this level, it comes to the next level. From this level, it comes to the next level, which is there. For understanding better things, let's go to the daily chart of this. So this would be in the month of what? January 2008. So let's go to January 2008 and try to identify certain things if we're able to get exact, or maybe probably try to understand how things have been happening. So this is 2008, right? So let's try to understand how things have been happening and how the cycle has been formed. So again, we'll use the same tool and try to find out how things have been happening, right? So first and most important thing for us is to know how this Fibonacci had gone further. So probably if I check out on in terms of level, so this is my 0, which has been 0 and 1. And if I see a reversal, I got a reversal at 0.5, and this level came down to somewhere around 6363, right? So if this was 6363, I would be getting a high at 6357. So very precise, more of not very accurate in terms of numbers, but if you see for maybe more of terms of percentage, it is somewhere around 1-2%, not more than that. So which is good enough, fair enough, within a limited purview as such, I would say. Now let's go to some individual levels. Well, first of all, try to probably just shift this on the left hand side so that we have something much more easier to be seen across, right? So this is the first part. Let me reduce this further, something like that. Good. Seems good enough, right? If I can zoom it across further, nothing like it. So I'll use the same Fibonacci tool which is there, right, from the top. So this was my top. So probably if I check out on a smaller time frame, what has been happening is this, the first part. So I identify a high, and then after that, again, for the first cycle, it is going on the top. Let me see the extensions, if any, how they are going in and till what level. So 1.272, after that 1.618. So probably yes. After this small range, see, it was from the top side to the bottom, and then got a reversal again, which is coming to 0.236. This is probably because on a smaller scale speed. These are daily candles, and probably we cannot zoom it further because of certain constraints in technicals. Like after a certain period of time, you are not able to see the previous candles more of in details. Like we cannot go for 15 minutes chart or maybe 30 minutes on an hourly chart. More of after a certain time period. This is almost from 2008 onwards. So it's like 14 years, 14 odd years. So that's a long time period overall. So this was the first cycle. So we saw the cycle which has been completed around 1.618. So first part, let's try and see extending thing as we did it last time, right? So we came from this low to this high. Let me go down to the exact ratios so that we would be able to know more of details, right? So I find out the high and the low. First of all, I'll go for the low. Let me click over here first of all. And I find the low to be 16112.55. So I get a precise figure and I go for the high. The high is coming to exactly 6357.1. 6357.1. So I go for the exact figure, right? And then try to find out my coordinates. Coordinates in sense till what level it has been reversing. So this is what I just need to find out. So I'll do one thing. I'll just try to take the Fibonacci values which are there, maybe probably on the left hand side or the right hand side. I'll prefer to keep it on the left hand side at this stage. Nothing like that. I mean, left, right, no preference. Only thing is it becomes much more visible, and I have the chart on the right hand side. So my 0.5 level comes to 6234.83, right? And let me see till what level my Fibonacci has been reversing. Now, I'm not in favor of 0.5 something specific like that, but we have seen that after the first reversal, mostly it comes down to the 0.5. So yes, it did go back probably somewhere around It made a high of 6260, and my 0.5 level is 6234. So quite precise again, I would like to say. And why especially talking about this 50% levels is we'll just go through one of the books of WD Gann, which is his course. That is WD Gann Master Commodity Course, right? So it mentions about few of the things. Let me just see about those, because this is more about the 50% level that he talks about. So we just need to understand what exactly he's trying to say about those parts. Very important, especially from the 50% levels point of view, because I probably wanted to take this last time, but probably we were not able to complete all the things together. So this is yep, this is 50% level. Yes. So I'll probably just like to zoom it across. Let me give me one moment, please. Yes, probably much more easier to read. Rule number 5. This rule is for both buying and selling, right? Let's try to just read across through this. When prices decline 50% of the highest selling level, you can buy with a stop loss order of 3 cents below the low price, right? Next strongest buying point is 50% between the extreme low and extreme high. We're talking about extreme low and extreme high points, right? For example, then he has given an example and try to say about this part, right? 50% of this level and 30 cents is 158.4. So he has again given an example. So what he's trying to say over here is the 50% level of the extreme low and extreme high is much more important, right? So what we did is in our previous parts, whatever they were, we always drew a Fibonacci, because Fibonacci generally comes to 0.5 levels, and this becomes extreme important levels for us more of, right? So we started from a low. So this was my low where we started from, and we got a high, and probably this is again an important level. This is important when it is coming down, maybe in the bear cycle, as well as when it is going up, probably in the bull cycle. For example, if in the bull cycle we are talking about, yes, this is my low, this is my high, and this is my reversal. So the reversal again comes at 0.5 level, and that's why he's trying to focus on those things together, right? So this is again the 50% level. If we see precisely, yes, and this is what he's talking about. Next strongest buying point is 50% between the extreme low and the extreme high, right? So this is again about 50% level, which I think is very important. That's why I just wanted to show you across. Let me show you something again on one more page. We saw this. Page 54, if I'm not mistaken. Yes. Right. So again, this is at page number 57. Let me just reduce it. Yep. This is good enough to read. Right. So again, the average or halfway point. Always remember, make it much more readable so that everyone can see that. I understand that people may be having some eyesight problem. Yes. Always remember that 50% reaction or halfway point of the range of fluctuations or of the extreme highest point of an option of any particular move is the most important point for support on downside or for meeting selling and resistance on the way up. This is the balancing point because it divides the range of fluctuation into two equal parts, or divides the highest selling points into two equal parts, right? So that's why these 50% important levels are very important. This we can see on page number 54, right? 54 of the course, which is there, and we saw certain things also which have been given previously. So that's why these 50% levels are important. Probably he studied more about those things, and that's why Gann has recommended those things after doing his backup studies more of. So that's why probably this 0.5% level comes down, right? So from there, the market started moving down. It probably came down further, right? Probably it is this level. So this is a major part where it reversed. Probably if we get better entries, we are able to get an entry for the longer part, right? I will try to again zoom this Fibonacci further, right? So after zooming this Fibonacci to the exact probably points, I'll try to again see whether we are getting a reversal which is somewhere nearer to those things. Probably I'll just try to keep this under center. Easier for us to understand. Center better, right? Because the values would be then available at the center and we'll be able to see them probably clearly, if not anything else, right? Yes. So if we check out, I took the high and again the low. And if I check out, yes, this is my 0.5 level. And then again see that, okay, the values are coming just nearer to 0.5 level, right? So nothing precise on that part, probably just, it may not be a coincidence because we saw the first cycle again coming to this 0.5 part and the second cycle again coming to this 0.5 part. So probably these levels midway are again crucial. So we know that, okay, fine, from here onwards, we can again do the sailing, right? So it probably after that took supports at certain parts and definitely after that it was moving down. So probably over here, we see more of a double bottom, which has been formed. From this bottom again, it is going up. So probably are we able to trace something which is going up? Let's try to draw a Fibonacci over here and try to identify if we are able to get something very accurate to what we have been discussing till now in terms of cycles and rest of the things together. So after going through this low, yes, I first of all get a range, a reversal more of in the form of double bottom. So this was my first bottom, this was my second bottom. So I got a double bottom and we know that, okay, Gann was very fond of double bottom, triple bottoms more of. So again, because probably history has been repeating, everything has been happening in that way. So we got a double bottom, and after that, again, the stock did move up. It completed an upward retracement. So we knew that, okay, these cycles have been formed, and these cycles are formed not only in long term, but also in short term overall, right? So we see that, okay, these cycles have been formed every now and then, right? So we see the reversals also. The reversals are also, as WD Gann said to us, right? What did he say? He said that, first of all, the law of vibration enabled me to accurately determine the exact point to which stocks to commodities should rise and fall. So again, we will be probably able to know because that is how maybe stocks do work and they function, right? And everything in existence is based on exact proportion and perfect relationship. So probably we see this perfect relationship which has been occurring every now and then, again and again. Probably the upward movement, then the reversal, and then the probably the range, the reversal, and after that the extension which we see. Extension is 1.27 to 1.6. So we got it at an accurate point, right? This is the first part. And after that, again, we see a downward movement which is there, right? And here we saw on the bigger range, bigger ranges. First of all, we got a resistance which were exactly at 0.76. So the proportions are there very much similar on the top side as well as on the bottom side. So we saw from here that probably the proportion that we had, which was coming up to 1.272, that was exactly at this 0.76 level. So let me just draw a line over here. Let me just darken that so that we know something of importance. Probably a black line. Just to differentiate between the green red color because these are mostly the colors which have been coming up over here. So we saw that the 0.76 level which has been coming, that is exactly coming to the reversal part, and from there the market has been pushed down further, right? So from there, where did it go down? It went to around 0.5 level. So this was my first support. So if I move on the bigger cycles, probably I know that, okay, from 0.76 it has been pushed across, it comes down to 0.5, and there probably is where I get my support, right? So from this level, again, it has been pushed back. So any relevance on these 2 points which are there together, because it is coming to almost 0.618. And let's try to check that if possible in terms of ratios, if we are able to get any. So this is the first one. Again, we come to know that, okay, this is somewhere nearer to those levels of 0.5, right? And let's try to see if we are able to get this on the upper side. No, but yes, this level and this level, yes, definitely they do match, right? So if we see the high, the extreme high at this point and the extreme low at this point, yes, we are again getting a reversal which is again at 0.5, right? So 0.5 probably a reaction and then going down, right? So again, talking in terms of those things, yes, we are getting things which are very much similar to those aspects together, right? So the high, the low, and the reversal, yes, again coming to a 0.5%, right? So let's not try to confuse that further. I'll remove that. So that was coming to, first of all, the figure on the bigger Fibonacci is 0.5. So 0.5, I got to support, it went up, again 50% retracement, and from there it started coming down, right? So what was the next target after that? From 0.5, I guess it again tried to take a support and then move up, and from there probably it just dropped down. It did drop down to the 0.236 level, bore off, right? It went to the 0.236 level, right? So we see somewhere around a relations which is in terms of the ratios which is there, right? Coming from 0.236 to 0.5, maybe probably coming up to this 50% level. And we saw this 50% levels have been important. Why? Because this has been coming exactly to the point which is there, right? So this is one cycle that we saw for the bear cycle where we see the ratios which have been coming are in a similar way. Let's try to see for the next cycle. Uh, so for next cycle, yes, this was my reversal. So I know. Uh, So this was more of a double top, again a double top, which WD Gann did love because he has discussed about these things very often in his book, right? So I see this top which has been formed, right? So I'll just try to see those things in detail more of rather than going for the other thing. So this was my high. I'll probably mark this with a line, right? So yes, this is my high, right? So from this high, probably I go for this low and then the second low, right? So let me draw Fibonacci over here also. Probably take the point on the left. I guess the left would be preferred. Why? Because they are then easily visible rather than going on the right hand side. No preference. I generally try to see on the right hand side when the market is active, but because we know that everything has happened, so probably I'll try to take it on the left hand side, just because easier to track. So this point has again come down to almost around 0.236, nearer to that. This high has been 6310, and my 0.236 level has been 6316. Nevertheless, I mean, like, again, accurate coming to those points to be precise, right? So from here, again, the market started moving down, and probably to certain levels it would have gone down, right? So that was the first reversal that I got. And let me check out for this point. I mean, as per my understanding, it should be again coming to the 50% level. I may be wrong, but let's try to backtest, right? Uh, I could take it. Oh, wow, right? I'm not taking the exact accurate point because probably that takes some extra time then. But I consider the high and the low, and the reversal that we are getting is again bang to the zero point 0.5 level. I won't say that, okay, it is exactly at the zero point 0.5 level, but yes, just above those levels at the zero point 0.5, and then probably after that it starts moving down. Moving down, yes, probably again double top kind of thing. Resistance from here, again a resistance, it goes up, goes up again to this 0.236 level. Wow, good. It should be good enough. Right. See, so from here, I probably got a reversal. Let me check out if I'm able to guess this reversal exactly in some ways. My high. Come down to this low. In terms of reversal, yes, I got a range, I got a reversal, and then it started moving up, and it has completed an extension which is 1.27. 1.272 is average out 6174. This is not exact, but approx 6174. And the high of this candle has been 6181. Right, 6181. This is there, and we get the figure which is for 1.272 as 6174. So again, to be very precise, more of we would be able to know the reversal just when we know about this point. So probably if we know how the market functions, and if we know that okay, reversal has been happening on this part, probably we know the end point also. So we know the start point, we know the end point, probably this one or this one, but because we know that okay, it should be coming maximum to 0.236, yes, that should be a preferred point. And on the smaller ratios, the bigger ratios, everything is again matching perfect in terms of ratios that WD Gann has been talking about, right? So everything in existence is based on exact proportion and perfect relationship. I mean, yes, the upward Fibonacci, the downward Fibonacci, everything has been matching. So it is not only in one direction, but also in the reverse direction. Also, it has been matching. So this is what we are trying to see, and this has been matching not only in the bull cycle, but also we see very approximate things which are there in the bear cycle also. So we are trying to study this more of in the bear cycle. So from here it did go up, and probably we saw a reversal. The reversal is coming to 1.618. Wow, we again got a low which is there at 1.618. Good, fair enough, nice one. So probably from here, yes, as we think about that, okay, there should be reversal. So there are cycles which are like, okay, if it is an upside cycle, then we get a downward cycle, then we again get an upside cycle, which is there. So no wild guesses for any of the things. As per my understanding, they should be again coming to the 50% level or something like that. Right. So probably just came above that. Let me see in terms of the smaller Fibonacci. So from this high, if I consider that as the low, not very accurate, but yes, approximately I can say to be on a bigger side that yes, this 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 is coming to the points which are there in terms of ratios. So we see a perfection which is there. Yeah, didn't come down to 0.5 levels, but yes, more of in terms of ratio, yes, the Fibonacci's have been acting, interacting in a better way, right? So we saw downward movement, probably from then onward. Yes, if I see this bigger Fibonacci, let me try to push it across and see if this was the final point, right? Yes. If I see the 50% reversal, yes, probably these are the final levels. From there, it has been reversing. And this was the final point. So this final point has been what level? Again at the 0.7 level. So let me just draw a line, a horizontal line starting from maybe this was my extreme high. Again, I'll turn it towards a black line so that becomes easier for us to understand. Analyze more of. So this black line is there, and probably my last reversal, which has been coming down, is again at those levels, right? So this level is there, and after that it started moving down. So this was the end of the bear cycle. So again, we saw the similar things which are there, probably in terms of ratios. Yes, this has been more of doing in a similar way, not if very appropriate, right? So let's try to quickly cover one more reversal if possible. The last one from this side, right? So this we will just try to see as an average, more of not in terms of details, but yes, this is 0.76 level. So almost coming to the 0.76 level and going down. Let me quickly draw some Fibonacci's. I'll just go for approximate values and not for exact values. So yes, again, this has been reversing. This has been coming to almost 0.236 level, right? From it was been pushed down and it came to a level of 1.272. And from there, it again started moving down, moving up. I beg your pardon. So even if I consider in terms of ratio from this low to this high, yes, again it has been coming up. Probably in terms of Fibonacci, it will be going up and then coming down. And this is my 0.5 level. So last push was at 0.5, and if this was my low, let me consider this as my low because this was my last final one. I try to push it across, maybe on the right hand side. That should do the, I guess. Ah, that should also do. Yes. So what I have is probably if I consider again the high and the low and the reversal for this last point, yes, no doubt it has been common 0.5. So again, in terms of accuracy, yes, we are getting very much accurate that okay, if the market does reverse, it is more of majorly reversing from the 0.5, right? So from here, this range and my target is 1.272. Or if I add just one more target over here from 1.27 to maybe 1.44 should do. Let's see if it is accurate or not. 1.404 has been 6,911 and this low has been 6,869. Okay, somewhere around very close to that level. But yes, on terms of Fibonacci, yes, the levels, the ratios are very been matching. So what we see, what we saw over here is probably the 50%. First is the Fibonacci's have been working very well in terms of not only the bull cycle but also the bear cycle that we saw, and we studied this for three different bear cycles. I beg your pardon. One is for the 2008 bear cycle, right? So talking in terms of ratio, let me just try to see. So this was 1.618, and if I try to add an extension, the next one, let me do it with maybe level 2. So level 2 has been what? Coming to an exact level 2546, which is at 0.236 level. I guess yes, Fibonacci wise, this is working quite well in terms of the ratio coming from the last level of 0.76 and then coming down, right? So I've considered that. Yep, that is there. And we saw for this first Fibonacci in terms of the ratios which are there for bear cycle, and this bear cycle is there for 2008, right? So 2008 downwards it started coming down. We saw the second one which was there for 2010 level, which is there, and again we saw for the ratios precisely are coming up very much in terms of the ratios that we have to see. Even in terms of reversals, we are able to get some appropriate proportions and ratios for that part. So these are again quite well matching when it wants to go from the bottom to the top. Yes, these are again matching with the levels which are there. When it wants to go from the top to the bottom, again, yes, these are matching. When it wants to go from the bottom to the top, reversals 1.618 perfectly matching. And again, in terms of the ratios, yes, quite possible, quite fanatic that okay, we are getting the exact ratios which are 0.5 and other ratios which have been there for the Fibonacci part, right? And the extensions are again very much coming to those appropriate levels. I'll take down the ratios for this also, the reversal. So probably I just need to reverse that. I'll just reverse. And yes, this is my reversal. So reversing, this is coming to 1.618. 1.618 is 4,464. 4,464, and this point is coming to 4,500. 4,500 and 4,464 is again quite well matched, I would say, right? So we studied three different bear cycles from W.D. Gann's on law of vibration, which is there, and we found out that okay, this reversals also perfectly match in terms of the Fibonacci levels which are there, and in terms of ratio also for the reversals. So we also saw that the ratios which are there for the reversals are also very much matching. So this sounds really good. Let's again try to get more of into detail and find out if we are able to maybe find some extra finer points, because these are more of on the bull and bear cycle. So we need to do more of trading which are there probably for lesser time frame, not for this bigger time frame. Of course, these bigger time frames are also important. I don't deny that fact, but let's try to see further more of in the smaller time frame also if we are able to get certain finer points. Okay, we'll meet in the next chapter. Thank you so much. Bye. Take care.